Hey guys, how is everybody? I hope you're well. It's a little project I've been meaning to do here for longer than I care. I bought a piston a while back, and I've got a nice OEM cylinder laying here. Actually, I have a couple of them, but we just been busy doing a lot of other things. Got kind of freed up here for a little bit, so it's time to knock some of these out of my own, I guess. This is the 365 that we done the full restoration on, I guess you could say. I better get another, or a larger magnetic tray here. I put a $21 Farmer Tech cylinder on it. I put one of those shitty little red barn pistons in it. At the time, I hadn't had one fail. I've got one in my 372 kit saw, and you know, all this stuff may be a-okay, who knows, but this is a really nice saw, as you can see. I ain't gonna lie and say it's perfect. Someone could get it and nitpick the paint job to death on it, but that's beside the point, I guess. I've got a piston, one of the Duke's coated pistons. It's 48 millimeter. It's going to be a 48 millimeter build. I'm not going to go super crazy with it. I've got one built here that kind of looks really crusty. It is, you know, a junk pile saw, which is kind of what this one was. It was a complete saw though. I ended up having to get on eBay and find a case half. This is not the one that we had just done that has the really high compression. I've had thoughts on painting that saw, or maybe even dyeing it all black, just because the plastic looks so rough on it. But I don't know, it has character. You can throw it on four-wheeler, take it back in the woods, and don't have to worry about whether it falls off and gets beat up or not. And I'm telling you, I don't know what I'd ate the day that I put those bolts in, but those suckers were put in to stay. I'd probably been lifting, truth be told. It does make a difference. But I've been lifting now, so they should feel light, or shouldn't feel as tight. I know there's a few of you lift. You said it in the comments. You totally get it, I know. But I know somebody probably like, why in the hell would you pull it down? Go through all that trouble, just change the piston cylinder when there's nothing wrong with it. Like I said, it's got a $20 Chinese cylinder on it and a $30 who knows where it's made piston. One thing we might do is get a check on compression just to see what you get. And it looks like we got a plug wire about burnt in here. That was really affecting the way it ran a bit. Saw runs good. See what you get just by doing a base gasket delete and a pop-up. It is not what some people would say or think. Sometimes you can get lucky. My big bore saw, it's got a lot of attention. There's a bunch of short and long video clips on it. The Farmer Tech. It is a nasty saw. It has the little red barn piston in it, and the saw runs so good. That's a lot of the reason I've not tore it down and replaced that piston, but we're going to do so just probably shortly after this one. We've got some repairs coming on some saws we'll get into here next week. I think a couple small Huskies and a steel 311. I don't know what I'll video on them, but they're on their way up here. But I don't even remember what the squish was on this. I guess we could check it. I think what we're going to be doing here is kind of like a porting series. I don't know how many videos it'll take to get it done. We're going to do machine work on it, but I honestly don't know if I cut the band on it. I'm wanting to just kind of do like a simple woods port on it. Port timing on the OEM 48mm jugs is usually pretty good. Right out of the box. Wow, so it's super loose. I'm gonna say up there pretty good. That saw there, I think, is 40 thou or so. It's got it mashed some, but it ain't it ain't mashed tight, we'll put it that way. I don't know, we'll just have to see. I'll have to make another 48mm mandrel. The last one I had, I kind of chopped it on down and made one to do the 346 jugs with. Let's zero this junk. And people throw off on these, and I've said it in other videos. I've had this damn thing going on 7 years. This spring will be 7 years. And it has checked the squish on a lot of old saws. And I can check it dead with a set of feeler gauges, and it's dead accurate within probably half a thou or less. I'm gonna get this up. Maybe the GoPro will pick it up. Laughable. What a turd. I ain't even gonna tell you guys, I'm just gonna show you. Maybe I can get it angled to where you guys can see it. Yeah, what a joke. Pop-up ain't gonna make up for that, guys. I can't believe I even put that together that way, but maybe why you only seen one cut video with it. I think the only cutting video I have with it, me and Dad was blocking up that big maple up at his place back in the winter. I think there was freaking snow on the ground, maybe. It was really cold, I do remember that, but he was running this and had a ground chain on it. I just put that, I bought this cylinder and the one that's on the 2171, they're 50mm. The 2171 with just a flat top piston ended up with more tighter squish. I think it was below 30 thou, but I don't think it was that much. Trying to think, it's been a long time since we built that saw. That was easy enough. Been a long time since we built that saw, but I went back into it. I've done a lot of crazy stuff to it. They were really cheap cylinders. May not have even been $20. They may have been more like 15 or 16 bucks. Been a long time, but that saw was flat out eating this one alive. This one had a ground chain on it. The other one was just some old junk chain on the John's Red that I'd hand filed here. I did spend a lot of time on it, but it's, like I said, it's just still some junk I done. And you know, it just, I'm thinking this thing was left with a low roof too, and the John's Red was stretched out to like 100, I think. I know I set that saw up with, it was 100, 120, and 80. And it has finger ports and bridge ports cut all in it. And believe it or not, they do seem to help on a outbound quad port design. You'd think it would be the opposite, but I've done it on a couple of cylinders here, and it really, really seemed to wake them up. But you know, you're just causing wire on your piston that's unneeded. Well, you're taking material away. The shit's gonna wear out faster is what I'm trying to say, I guess. And my little Husky scrunch ain't laying here. I'll have to find it. They're about the only ones you can get in there to do the handlebar, and I really wished I'd have had something put together just to use the impact driver. but there's nothing wrong with taking stuff apart by hand. That's probably what we're just going to get into here in this video. It'll probably be kind of long. I think there's one more here in that full wrap. Yeah. It's just kind of getting this tore down, seeing where it's at right now. I should have made test cuts beforehand, but from what I remember, this saw's just nothing. I highly doubt it would run as good as a stock 372. It may fool me and do it, but the one I done for Simple Man, it's twin. I built 2 of these at the same time, painted them up. I've still got a lot of that paint. I do have enough stuff here to build a complete 365. I actually have enough to build 2, but some of the parts are kind of busted up. I'm going to need epoxy, but I'm kind of thinking race saw on those. Was this an OEM cover? No, I think it's Farmer Tech. I don't see any part numbers in it, so no, it's scuffed up. I think it's OEM cover. I think this saw was about 90% OEM. And that color, I'm trying to think of what it was. It was I think it's just competition orange, to be honest with you guys. High gloss competition orange, I think's what it was. I like to take the dogs off just so I don't freaking get poked. And that's why I changed the crankcase half out on this when I done it. I still have the original one down here. It's been used a little more than I let on because there's saw chips in the bolt heads. If I took it out again, I don't remember, but we cut so much wood over the course of a year. I'm gonna start trying to take a camera anytime we go. When we get like we put that little video up last week, I really thought it would get more views than it did. I guess it just all depends on what saws people want to see run. Took the blackout saw and cut that stump down with that 038 or 380, whatever you want to call it. I really like that saw, but I think it could be made to be a lot stronger. It's really torquey, you can lean on it, but it ain't the fastest cutting saw in the world. And if I'm wanting to time this garbage as is, we really don't have to. There really ain't a bit of sense in it. We got to just knock the fuel line off. It's on there. When we done this one, it was like I said, everything we done, it was basically a full restoration. But I think it would be worth more with the OEM cylinder back on it. And I'm sure as soon as I put it up, I'm gonna sell it, which I probably will, just so I can build another. Some asshole will get it and pull that 48mm jug off the OEM one and put a damn Chinese big bore on it. But whatever it is, what it is. I know better. The OEM stuff's always better. You can get the Chinese stuff to run. I'm sure someone's shaking their head saying I'm crazy, but the OEM stuff always runs better. The one we done for Simple Man with the OEM 50mm jug on it, it will annihilate the saw. And I contribute that to the OEM cylinder on it and piston, which this was just like a simple, you know, work saw build. That's what I said I was going to do with it. It's just a simple woods poured on it. We'll pull it all off and have a look. Like I said, I thought about timing it, but well, that ain't good. That spring's bent all to hell. And we will use this cylinder on another project. Wow, that spring is bent. it's seen better days. I'm sure I have one here that's in a lot better shape than that. Right now, I'm gonna pull the muffler off just so we can have a look at it all. Yeah, I don't think there's much sense in throwing a degree wheel on this garbage and timing it. Oh, I'm about to fuck up. We were gonna check compressions, what we were gonna check. We might check the exhaust port height just because of that. Let's grab a compression gauge. And anyone that sits and watches these longer videos, guys, I really appreciate it. I'm gonna try to start uploading more of them. Whatever, I've got really fast business speed internet here. The wife has to have that for work. I don't guess she necessarily has to have it, but it's just better to have it. Let's see, it would have been better to have that wide open, but we'll high idle it off of the carb and see what we got. $15 pulls. If it ain't gonna build compression by there, it ain't gonna. We built no compression. Something's up funny. Let's try that again. We must have hit our button. That's about what I expected. I'm gonna bring it in so you can see it. Let's give it the benefit of the doubt and give it 3 more pulls. That is a long hose. 4, I can't count. It moved none, so there's what your Chinese cylinders to pop up. Your big bores, if they're a little tighter, will be a little higher, but yeah. And I'm willing to bet the exhaust roof on that was left low. Wherever it fell, I would guess. After clean up and polish. If it's a work saw and you're wanting to fall with it, wanting to lean on it, you know, you don't necessarily have. Let's see, I'm trying to get this out without sounding stupid, but something like this where it's full wrap and I'd want to fall with it, I might want to lean on it in a cut. That just ain't gonna cut it. I wish we would have made some cuts beforehand with it. Whatever it is, what it is, I'll try to link that video at the end of this one, and you could just tell in the video it would, you know, he'd try to dog in on it and it'd fall on its face, and it wasn't nothing to do with the chain or anything. It just, let's just face it, that's a lot of why you ain't seen it. The saw's kind of gutless. I had it out very few times, I think. But mainly I'm wanting to get this cylinder, this piston out of it. I know this cylinder's still going to look like new and be good and usable. And I bought, the last order I made, there's a 48mm, or I'm wrong, I should have a 50mm piston laying here. If not, or 50mm, we'll figure something out. It's been a long day. And it's hot here again. I mentioned that in the last video. It's just kind of weird, kind of ridiculous. Weather just can't make up its damn mind what it wants to do. I'm having to pull that around to look at it because I've got you guys on it. There's no need in that being that tight. No need at all. No need at all. I do have a new muffler that we will be using on the saw. I hadn't even put a damn shield on that saw. Probably didn't have one. I should have one now. I've got a whole box full of 365 stuff over here. That muffler's beat up a little bit, and I just done like a ghetto looking fish gill in it, I guess I could say, without sounding too bad. Yeah, what I'm gonna do now, guys, is let's see, let me pause you guys until I figure out what I'm gonna do next. I guess I've decided to pull the starter cover off. It's unneeded, but it's a lot easier the way and I'm thinking that this thing with a starter rope, it came back in it and busted the shroud. I'm pretty sure I have a new shroud here to go in it as well. There's reasons the saw hadn't been out and been ran, and you know, the main reason was it just was not what I was used to running. This is done back, God, I don't know, last summer sometime probably. I don't really remember. I don't think it was done in this year. We may try to go back and look, but seemed like the video title was building a hot rod 372 or something, or that may have been the saw we done for Simple Man. I don't know. I've built so many saws here over the course of the last 6 years, it's just kind of ridiculous. I've sold a lot, traded a lot, worked on a lot for other people. Well, those are mismatched at the wrong damn. That one's probably the only correct screw in the thing. All of them should be able to be taken out with a flat head on the starter cover. I probably just put whatever the hell I had in it back in the thing. I think I built Dolly before I built this saw. I'm about sure of it. Yeah, I know that was in the dog days of summer last year, 2021. Hell, if not in 2020. But yeah, that thing. Yeah, like I said, there's some reasons this one hadn't been ran. What a mess. She is busted up, but we have shrouds we'll put on it to fix it. There went what was left of the shroud in the floor. Well, one of the top ones has a slot for a flat head in it. And we had 3 correct ones in it, and then one up here that wasn't the correct one. I hope that little bushing stayed in that. This saw might have been missing the bushing. Something hit the floor there a second ago. I don't know what it was, but I doubt it was that bushing. This saw might have been missing the bushing up here because I ordered several extra, and one of them might have been for this, but it'll get one back on it when we put it back together. And all of this was done right when the saw was put together. I just had it out running it. I'm trying to think where. I think I took this over to the property a couple times and cut some wood with it too, but we caught Simple Man's done this, and I think it's just the fact I didn't have the starter rope wound tight enough. If you set them free, you rev them to about 13.8, 14 grand. Somehow starter rope gets sucked up into the flywheel and it'll bust all of this. I caught that Simple Man's done it, his 365 build, and we caught it on camera. I actually thought I blew the man's saw up, which he wouldn't have cared. We'd have just fixed it, but I really thought I blew the man's saw up. It's showing a lot of freaking saw chips and stuff and shit all over it, so it's been ran more than I'm letting on, I guess. But that gauge reads about 5 psi low, so 160 psi. That's probably a touch overstock. You know, some people would like it and think it feels all right, but if you see someone claiming they're getting 180, 190 psi with a Chinese cylinder and a base gasket delete and a pop-up, maybe if they're filling the cylinder full of oil beforehand, that'll make it bump up just a little bit more, but it's a false reading unless you got freaking the top end's just wore plumb out or something. But let me pause you guys and we'll at least get set up and see where the exhaust roof's at on this, just to give you an idea of what those numbers will pop up would give you. Alright guys, you can take my word for it. I'm not going to try to show this degree finder on the camera, but I'm assuming it was just left as is. Like 103.5 on the exhaust roof, and take note we had over 40,000 squish with the pop-up, and that's you about 160 psi on a 50mm saw, or well, 50mm 372. I don't know how tall that pop-up is. It's probably 20 or 30 thousandths or something. I guess we're about to find out, but looks like I'd push the transfer ports, or just kind of left them at kind of the max of what I would do on one. They were like 24, 25 degrees blow down on the primaries. I didn't even check secondaries, but it's like 103.5, 127 or something. So there's that, and who knows where the intake port's at. I'm assuming probably around 75 or 76 or something. I don't know that I could get that carb boot off to check it, or if it even really matters, but that's kind of, we're gonna get the cylinder off of this and just have a look at it all. It looks like I Loctited the shit out of those, which is not a bad thing. You don't have to do that. Not totally necessary. Some people claim that it is, but I've seen a lot of saws out of here without Loctite in nothing. Most of them still going. About all of them, I guess, that I know of. But anyway, that's kind of what we're doing in this video. Just gonna pull this cylinder head off of it. I'm gonna start with I guess a part 2, so to speak. This one ain't real long, we'll just make one big long video, but I highly doubt it. I'd kind of like to go over some ways of porting. Things I like to do. It is nice to have the lathe now. And guys, that boost in compression you get, it is noticeable, regardless of what wood you're in. Maybe if you're cutting something really, really soft and you have a really, really, really spot on chain, I guess people need to take that into consideration when they see other saw builders build a saw. It's not super high compression. What I call super high is over 200 psi. High compression to me is 175, 180 psi, maybe 190. This here would just be a touch over stock, what you would normally get the base gasket delete. I've seen guys claim that they have stock saws that make 180 psi, and I'm sitting scratching my head. Like, I don't know, maybe something that's like 100 cc's or something, but then they usually have those set up to where they're really easy to crank. Let's see how well that Moto seal holds. Holy shit. I have to find my mallet. It should be over here at the lathe, I think. Not seeing it. I guess I'll pause you guys to locate the mallet. I'm not really seeing my mallet laying anywhere. I'm sure it'll turn up, but we'll see if we can just whack it here to the end of this hammer a little bit. It usually doesn't take much. That one's pretty damn stubborn. There we go. Anyone says Moto seal doesn't work. There you go. Proof's in the glue. I think everything's loose. Maybe not the impulse line. It pulled off with it anyway. Mainly what I'm wanting to see is this little red barn piston. I swear I think I hear raindrops hitting the roof of my building, guys. I swear I believe it. Cylinder's got some places in it. I don't know why it would have, but well, I'll tell you what, guys, I'm gonna locate a little pair of needle nose. I'll yank this piston off. There may be a pair just laying here somewhere, but we'll get the piston off of it. Here we go. And inspect it. As of right now, it's not looking half bad, but there's some wire marks on it, which shouldn't be on a piston that low hour. You wouldn't think anyway. Trying to think of what circlips. Those pliers might not be small enough. That's one of those clips that you have to mash down on both sides. Double-eared, I guess you could call it. It's not wanting to come out super easy. We wasn't going to have a circlip failure, that's for sure. Oh, those clips. They kind of look like a heart, I guess. They're usually a pretty good clip. That's kind of what got me on those pistons. They looked super nice. This one's still not looking bad, but maybe they're fine if you have kind of moderate compression. That 660 that popped is up there pretty good. You know, it was probably, I'm wanting to say those saws was 180, 190 psi. They'd had the bands cut, both of them, and, you know, pop-ups in them. Guys, I don't know where I'll clip this in, but just gonna give an up close look at this little red barn piston. I'm just telling you, this piston by itself here is heavier than the box and everything on this Duke's piston, the packaging and all, if that makes any sense to you. But that sucker weighs a ton. Could be why the ones in the 660 exploded, just because of them being so heavy and bulky. But piston still looks alright. Ain't really nothing noticeable on it, but this cylinder ain't really scored. I don't know if you can see up in there, but there is a place in the middle of the exhaust port. It's kind of like the plating's kind of funky there. Not sure what's up with it, but when I reuse this, I'll probably run a hone through it, and I probably will reuse it. It just all depends, but simple port work on it. I always lower this bridge, try to make it look as good as I can, but you know, we're not a freaking mill. We ain't gonna get it perfect with a grinder. Nothing really hogged out on it, and this was done, I know, well over a year ago, I guess. Intake port, nothing crazy done there at all. You still see the texture on it, just whatever, probably whatever I had on the cartridge roll. I might have went back in with some 60 grit or something on the slotted mandrel, but looks like we did lower the intake here. It ain't opened up over drastically huge. And the exhaust port, look at the carbon in the combustion chamber. It's not real bad. You can tell the saw don't have a lot of time on it, but exhaust port, it looks just like it did the day we done it. Generally they don't stick when we polish them, but you know, it's just if I do a simple woods port, that's basically just it. They seem to run good there, but this saw here had this big heavy piston in it and was lacking some compression, but we'll take care of that. We're going to step down and go to a smaller cylinder. Not going to make sense to some people, but whatever it is, what it is. You should see all that in the next video, but like I said, I don't really know where I'll clip this in at. I'm going to get a little towel and wipe this thing down, but it feels freaking heavy as lead, though, I'll tell you that. Feels like it weighs a ton as opposed to a stock piston. I don't even know why I used that. We live and learn. Piston doesn't really look bad. You know, it could be used, I guess, but wow, is it not heavy? Someone else I'd seen had mentioned that too, but holy crap. Already 20-30 thousandths pop up on it, but you know, I guess depending on who would want the saw or what they were doing with it, saw was probably fine, but like I said, I just felt that it's so nice it deserved the OEM top end put back on it. My John Zerita still ain't decided on it, the 2171. It has a cylinder identical to that one on it, but it had a bunch of experimental shit on it that actually worked. Saw runs good not to have any more. I swear I think it has about the same compression as this one, but I think Squish was about 27 thou and had a flat top and a higher exhaust roof. So I don't know that I've checked it. We may do that one day. There it is, guys. I may bring a set of scales out here one day and weigh that against a Farmer Tech piston or one of the Dukes, but that son of a bitch is heavy. I swear the next one of these saws we get into may be my kit saw, and we may jerk it's got one of these pistons in it, but it's a big bore. But that saw runs so damn good. But what would it run like? The lighter piston in it and a little bit of machine work with the same timing numbers. But from what I remember, I just didn't like how this one ran, is kind of why it set, and it just seemed like if you dog it in, it'd fall on its face, and just not something you'd want to get out and fall timber with, which we don't really fall a lot of timber, but we do cut some trees. Anyway, I'll quit running my mouth. As always, thank you guys for watching, and y'all have a great day.